This is Grant McGregor. Welcome to Clancast. We're talking to Scottish artists and talent through the length and breadth of the country. And today I want to introduce you to my very good friend, Andrew McAlindon. You know him as Andy the Highlander, social media sensation and content creator with millions of followers, as well as being the published author of a Sunday Times bestseller. But before we get to that, let's get back to the beginning. Andy, welcome to the inaugural Clancast.
Thanks for having me, Grant.
So, Andrew McAlindon, where are you from?
So I came from a little village called Fairley initially and lived there most of my life, but moved to the town of Kilmacombe, which is about half an hour from Glasgow. So I've spent the last 18 years or something here.
And that's where we are now, yeah? We're in Kilmacombe, we're in your front room, yeah?
That's right, in our living room with the sun splitting through the trees.
Nice, it's glorious. How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks. Yes, I have pretty much just finished my season and we went and picked up. It's been a busy year, Grant. But yesterday we went and picked up this lovely big Christmas tree that you can see behind us.
Yeah, it's an astounding Christmas tree.
So yeah, the kids will decorate that later tonight, I think.
And go and tell us what's been happening lately.
Well, we got a dog. We got our first dog.
I saw the video.
Yeah, my daughter Lana has wanted a dog pretty much since you could talk. So we get little Bichon Frise, and he's about 14 weeks or something.
I'll let you tell the stories later on of your fun-filled afternoons.
Absolutely.
Afternoons, yeah.
Well, you should have seen him yesterday when we come back from the Christmas tree farm. He was a different colour.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, he was sparkling white when I saw him today. So we're here to talk about you and really how you become Andy the Highlander, and along the way how we meet and all of those amazing little serendipitous steps that allow you to be at this point in life with all these millions of followers and all these great accolades. So tell us a little bit about, just before that, your childhood, early childhood. You were playing for some Scottish teams, rugby teams?
Yeah, I was quite sporty when I was younger. You wouldn't think it now, Grant, would you?
No, you look great.
Yeah, I played rugby for Scottish schools, under 15, under 17, under 18, as an inside centre. So I basically ran through you like a train.
I can believe that.
There was a word that my teammates kept shouting at me repeatedly, and to this day I still don't know what it meant. Pass, pass. So yeah, I was pretty greedy. So I enjoyed my rugby and
you
athletics.
did that for quite a few years, yeah?
Yeah, I did, until I had a dislocated shoulder against a team in Aberdeen. 18 staples in my shoulder and 2 steel pins. Okay. So my rugby days are over.
But so you played at that high level, under 15, under 18, Scotland level for a good 3 years,
yeah,
4
quite
years?
A good few years, yeah.
Okay, and also you mentioned earlier that triple jump, athletics?
Yep, Scottish schools again.
Yeah, so you're flying high, doing all of these sports at a very high level. Was there a defining moment that sort of changed that for you?
Well, when I left school, I joined my dad's building company and qualified as an electrician. So I kind of moved away from the sport a little bit and I didn't have anyone to push me. You didn't have your PE teacher to push you anymore. So fitness probably wasn't quite what it was.
So you didn't so when you left school, you were still doing the sport, or you were still within it?
I was still doing it after school, yeah.
But then you started working and that kind of dropped away as you were having fun?
Yeah, a little bit too much fun.
Okay.
My nickname when I was younger was Captain Sensible, in the most sarcastic possible way, Grant.
Okay, I can bet. So you started working as an electrician for your dad, and how many years did you do that for?
So I was a qualified electrician for over 25 years. I had my own company as well, and it was mostly word of mouth in my own little town here and surrounding areas.
Well, I know you were. I mean, I've helped you out a couple of times in some of those jobs, and I know you're highly regarded. You do great work for people, and you're in hard demand. But it's also tough work.
It was, Grant, but you just reminded me of a very funny story, and you know what I'm going to say here, don't you?
Go on, yeah.
So I was up in Edinburgh doing some smoke detectors, and I needed an apprentice, and you stepped up.
The apprentice, yeah.
You were my apprentice, and it was about 10 o'clock in the morning, and we stopped for a cup of coffee and a roll, and I scoffed mine up.
And you did. You scoffed yours with it. Actually, do you know what? It was lunch.
Oh, was it lunchtime? Right.
We'd finished the first job. We were sat in the van. We got a toasty. I had one bite from my toasty and a little drink, and I turned and you had wolfed down your whole one, and you were putting the keys in the car, and I'm like, "What are you doing,
Where are you
Andy?
going, Andy?
Where are you going?" You're like, "Well, we're going to the next job." I said, "No, we're not.
Yeah,
We're going to sit here. We're going to relax for 20 minutes. I'm going to have my toasty, and then we'll move on."
Yeah.
And that was just how driven you are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
non-stop.
Get the job done. But that was quite a funny memory.
That was a funny one, yeah.
So yeah.
So how long were you working for directly for your dad?
A number of years before I served my whole apprenticeship with my dad's company, and then set up my own company and worked with him until the day before he died.
Okay, so I know that you've mentioned this to me before, and you're very open about it. So that was kind of a defining moment for you, wasn't it? And in a way, that leads you to where we are now, yeah.
That's right. I think that's 17 years he's been gone now. Massive heart attack at the age of 58. And I do talk about this openly in interviews. So he actually called me the night before he died and asked if I wanted to go for a beer. And I couldn't. I said, "I can't, Dad." You know, my son Daniel was just a wee boy at the time. So I got a phone call the next morning. That was it. You know, my dad was gone. So yeah, it's because of that, I was in a very dark place. We still had jobs that we had to finish, you know, family business with my brother. So it was really dark, dark days. And somehow, you know, the body and the mind are incredible at kind of protecting you and driving you through. But yeah, I was in a very dark place at the time, not in a good place at all, until one of my friends suggested that I joined the local amateur Kilmacombe Dramatic Society. And
Had you done anything like that before?
I had at school. I enjoyed, we did Gilbert and Sullivan at school, Pirates of Penzance and the Mikado and stuff like that. So I did enjoy treading the boards at school level. But joining the Kilmacombe Dramatic Society, I said to my friend, "Whatever, you know, fine, I'll do it." But for me, it then became a great distraction from the grieving process. You know, you're putting your energy, your time into learning your lines. I was never the first to learn my lines. I was always a bit of a reprobate. My friend Kate and I used to pretend to drink cups of coffee, and we'd have the wine in there, but it was amateur, you know.
No, I believe it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good fun. It was a real distraction from the grieving process. And from there, from treading the boards for about 10 years, I met my wife Anna. She's from Croatia, and
She was doing some. She was actually performing as well, yeah.
I think the first time I ever saw Anna, I think it was a read through for one of the productions in the old community centre. So I remember seeing her there for the first time, but she helped out in the next production. I'm sure her story is very different from this, but she helped out in the first production, and then the second production she actually played my mistress. It was I played Monsieur Jacques Berry of the European Commerce Commission in A Rise in the Market.
And you do a very good accent, and you do a very good French as well.
Oui, monsieur, je parle français aussi.
Oui, oui.
So that's how Anna and I met. We ended up going for a cup of coffee, and here we are, 13, almost 14 years later, with 2 children together. And I have my other son Daniel from my first marriage. So that was amazing. You know, Anna came along at a difficult time in my life, and here we are. You know.
So you were. How long was the amateur dramatics then? How long were you there?
So I think I did about 10 years of that. In fact, I'm still involved with them. Anna is doing something with them in January. And even last week, I had one of the ladies from the Amdram on tour. I had my old chemistry teacher on tour and my old home economics teacher on tour, a woman that I've known since I was probably 10 years old. So I had 7 ladies from the town, and I took them to see The Sound of Music. So that's absolutely lovely for me, you know, that sense of community and school spirit.
Yeah, because you've been here at Kilmacombe now for a long time, yeah?
Yeah, a number of years, yeah.
So are you recognised as you're going around? Everybody knows you?
Yes, absolutely. You know me, Grant. I dress about usually with the 18th century kilt on most days. I go shopping to Tesco dressed like this, and Kilmacombe is a small place. Everybody recognises everyone else.
Yeah, and that leads nicely into the next step from the amateur dramatics. So what's the next step towards this?
So I did that for a number of years, and as I said, it became a good distraction. But my uncle Raymond had actually joined a casting agency in Glasgow called Real People Casting. So he had spoken about some of the jobs he had done, and it sounded very interesting. So my wife Anna and my 2 kids then joined the agency as well. And I remember jokingly saying to Anna, honey, I'm going to get loads of work, you know that, you know,
I remember you
sarcastic.
telling me that,
Yeah. And I did, you know, I've got one of those faces. I've played multiple roles over the years. I can look evil, I can look happy, you know, beard, no beard, as you know, wig. I even filmed on a Netflix production in Istanbul.
Yes, I
I
remember that.
remember that. It was called Rise in the What was it called? Rise of an Empire.
Rise
yeah.
of- yeah.
Ottoman Rise of an Empire, where I played a guy
John?
called
John?
John Grant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, so I joined and I guess started off doing photo shoots and whatever your agent asked you to do. It was I guess it was a shortcut into the industry. Scotland's a small place anyway, so as long as you behave and you know you start seeing the same people, the same production, the same ADs on the jobs, and if you're well behaved and well mannered and punctual, simple stuff like that, then you're asked back as well. Your agent at the end of the day wants an easy life, don't they?
Yeah.
They want to be able to pick up the phone and say, Andy, can you be in Edinburgh in 1 hour? Yes, you know. So because I was a self-employed electrician, I had that freedom to just say yes. So I actually became my agent's yes man.
Yeah.
And that's all they're looking for, is a simple life, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same with me. Yeah, I was self-employed at the time, and I mean that's how we meet. But it was a similar thing. You can drop everything and go.
Yes.
And I agree with you. It's like a great apprenticeship. You know, if you haven't studied it formally, full time, you know, if you pay attention and you're watching what's going on, you start to understand the sort of ebb and flow of what happens on a set.
That's right. You understand the process, and initially maybe you're looking at the cameras, but you get to a point where you don't even see them. During that time, I also went to Lenny Mullen's acting classes at the Brecon Bar in Govan for a number of months as well. And so yeah, it started off photo shoots, extra work, TV commercials. I think one of the defining ones was the Visit Scotland TV commercial, eating seafood in a restaurant in St
Tell
Andrews.
us what happened there then.
Well, some of the shoots you are allowed to eat as much food as you like, but others they've got limited amount of food, and for continuity, as you know, you're not supposed to touch it really. So we scoffed into the scallops.
And it was very nice food as well, you said, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, West Coast.
And what happened as you were just scoffing in? Did somebody shout at you?
Oh, you could just see one of the assistant directors running over. No, I don't eat that. So the chef wasn't very happy. So that was fun. But I guess the defining one, Grant, and where you and I first met was I got a generic email from our agent, David at the time, basically said, are you free to film on hit US TV drama? So it never actually mentioned that it was Outlander at the time, but I knew what it was. I had already seen the first season of Outlander, and like many other people, there's just something about it that captures your imagination. Episode 1, Season 1, this Highlander, the redcoats running about, and just the way it's atmospherically shot.
Yeah.
And they say Scotland's one of the biggest characters of the show. So luckily enough for you and I mean, you started before I did actually on Outlander, I believe, at the end of Season 1. You know, redcoat, yeah.
Yeah, down in Carlisle.
Carlisle
yeah.
Castle. But you and I think, first met whilst training for boot camp
Yes.
for Season 2 of Outlander. Now, this was preparing for the Battle of Preston Pans, which I didn't know at the time, but it's actually the 21st of September 1745. So I remember that was actually the day we were in the studio.
Yes.
It was really hot the day we were there. One of the rooms had these glass skylights and the sun was coming through.
Yeah.
And we were not allowed to touch swords for months. We were given wooden brooms to fight with.
Do you remember the how long they said the boot camp training was going to be to begin with?
So initially, I think we thought we were going to get maybe a week or two at the most, but that turned into something like 35 days, and we progressed. We didn't know this at the time, but there were actually guys giving you a mark out of 10 for your ability. You know, you have to sell it on a battlefield. You can't be all smiles. It has to look frantic, and it has to look as if you are fighting for your life. So you and I both progressed. Now, I'm actually left-handed, which in the 18th century was the devil's work, sinistra. Sinister. So I had to fight right-handed, but I got a 9 out of 10. But I remember you and I and a few of the other guys stayed in a cottage up in Crieff
Yeah.
whilst we did the camp scenes.
Yeah. We met a couple of the other guys. I'd met one of them before, I think Barry, and so that was my in. But we were going to film for what, 4 or 5 days up at Crieff, and I think it was Barry who booked the accommodation, and then he invited you and some of the other guys and me. I was the late arriver. I arrived at the last day, but you were there a couple of days before me. I know that John was there. I think Jay was there as well. And then I was remembering that last day, I think it was a Thursday, and we went into the local pub, and we had just missed out. We'd found out that all the crew had been in there the night before, and it had been, let's just say diplomatically, it had been an energetic evening.
Yeah.
And we want, and now it explained to us why everybody was so quiet the next morning. But we had our own energetic evening there, because I think we we all had a few drinks, and then I think I accidentally knocked my drink over you.
Vague recollections of that.
Yeah, and I think the night ended with, do you remember the dogs?
Yeah, I was lying on the floor cuddling the dogs, and,
Yes.
and now I finally have my own dog to cuddle. Yeah, that's right. But we were very tired, Grant, and if you remember, we were very keen. We were very energetic. You've got maybe 50 to 100 guys in a big cottage, a big barn actually, a big barn. It was very cold, sub-zero conditions. And at the end of the night, they're looking for volunteers to stay a bit later, or even during the day, they were always looking for volunteers, and we were always some of the first people to put our hand up. So we weren't just passengers, we were there, I think, for the whole experience. And I think that's why we're sitting here today, Grant, because we've taken something, that knowledge of the 18th century, and we've done something with it, haven't we?
It's always, pushing doors, see where it leads. I always remember about sitting in the barns that I think we made a decision, either consciously or subconsciously, we always sat right at the front, because I did it once early on where I sat at the back of the barn, never got picked, even with my hand up, and just sat there for the whole day, and it was just soul destroying. And I promised myself I would never do that again. I would always be down the front, and whatever it was, I would rather be doing something than doing nothing. And so we were always down the front, and maybe we were chosen together, maybe we weren't chosen together, but we were always busy in doing some, and some of the most interesting opportunities happened because of that.
Yeah, that's right. Step up.
So we do a lot of days. Actually turns out to be about 50 or 60 over a lot of seasons,
Yeah, multiple seasons. I mean, you started on season 1, so how many seasons have you actually done?
I did, I think I've done 1 to 5. Yeah.
So you were a redcoat, Roger's hand double.
Yes,
You were a Highlander, 1960s, was it?
Oh yeah, no, I was Roger's hand double in Inverness, looking for evidence of Jamie still being alive in the records at the library. I was a stand-in for Frank, on a chaise longue in their North America house, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep on the chaise longue, But Tobias was very gracious and nicely, gently woke me up. I apologise profusely. You've been leg double?
Yeah, so actually there was an article on the front, I think it was the Glasgow Herald 5 years ago, of my family, everyone, and it said the headline was Scotland's Most Outlandish Family.
I remember it.
And it said that hopefully Lana would join soon. So perhaps she's maybe now involved. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No.
So yeah, my whole family have been involved in Outlander. My wife and all of my children. My uncle, even from season 1, episode 7, The Wedding, he filmed at Glasgow City Chambers with Frank and Claire. So it's been an amazing journey. I started off season 2, episode 8 to 13, as you know, as one of Jamie's men, and I was with you in most of those scenes. Claire fixes my teeth in episode 11, season 2. Yeah. Vengeance is Mine, and you were there for that as well.
Yeah, in Kouros.
That was in Kouros. That was my first introduction to the town. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, it was me as well,
Yeah, stunning little town. Now become one of my favourite places to visit in Scotland. I've been back many, many times.
Yeah.
Season 3, I filmed about 30 days as well. We both played the town guard at the
Town
print
guard
shop.
in Edinburgh,
Yeah, we were putting the fire out at Carfax Close.
I love that because that was, we had John, who at the time was a serving firefighter, John Dan Duncan, firefighter in both the 18th and 21st century.
When you say John Dan Duncan, do you mean the John Dan Duncan?
The John, that's the one, yeah.
So yeah, that was fun, Grant, as well. And I remember it was a night shoot, and the costume department would come over and pull the scarves over our face because it was supposed to be hot. We were putting the fire out. So whenever they turned their backs, we would pull the scarves down in case the camera could pick our faces up.
And the great irony of that was it 2 or 3 days that we filmed
Yeah,
that?
I think
and
it
then,
was, that's
and then
right.
eventually when we see the scene, it is all of, what, seconds?
Yes,
10 seconds, 15
yeah.
seconds?
You can see as if you freeze frame it really
It's
quickly.
not too much of us decided to get rid of us.
Yeah, so that was season 3. What else did we do in season 3? Did so much. So yeah, I was Jamie's leg double, season 3, episode 3, where Fergus fires the pistol and the redcoats come to Lallybroch. So Jenny's in the bed and Jamie is hiding behind the door. So the production came up to us in the studio and they asked who had a size 10. So I put my hand up, but I've got massive calf muscles and Sam's are quite long and slim. So I struggled to actually get his boots on, but yeah, I creaked the floorboard. So that was me. And I played a redcoat at multiple other scenes down at Dunure Harbour and Craig Miller Castle in Edinburgh, where we both filmed as well.
Yeah.
So I remember I used to stay in your old flat as well.
Yes, many nights, and yeah, I'd offer you the sofa, but you're like, no, I must sleep on the floor.
I used to sleep with the kilt on, with it, sometimes without taking the 18th century kilt off.
Just to save it, I can't remember, did my cat used to try and
Yeah,
cozy up to you, or did I keep the
absolutely.
cat
Well,
away from you?
I'm allergic to cats. So
Oh, yes,
probably
you are,
tried
yeah.
to,
So the
to
flat-
keep away from the poor
The
thing.
flat was covered in cat hair, and you survived it all.
Yeah, but that's how you and I, we formed a really strong friendship, Grant. And
Yeah, because I stayed at your place, I
Yep.
stayed here, you stayed at mine while we were filming over there.
That's right. So we used to go out in Edinburgh, and it was, for me, it was good to familiarise myself. You know, the castle disappears pretty quickly, and then you kind of lose your bearings. Like, which way is Grant's flat?
Yeah.
Through the meadows, which side am I at here?
Yeah.
But I remember that lovely little shop, Hugh, the deli at
Oh,
the bottom of your
Victor
street.
Hugo's,
Victor
right on the
Hugo's,
corner.
yeah. Used to have brunch there,
That was
breakfast
great,
there
yeah,
in
I
the
was my
morning.
little local for, I lived there for 10 years.
Yep.
Yeah, so at the same time, so we're doing a lot of days filming in Outlander. At the same time, you start to get some kit, you start to get a plaid, and then you start to go out into the hills. So tell us about
That's
that.
right. So I started investing in 18th century outfits. I remember the first replica musket I bought, and as you
Because
know.
why? So take us back to what spurs you to start getting this stuff.
So I think I became very interested in that period, 18th century Scotland. And to be honest, I went to a private school here in Kilmacombe, and you know, maybe we were taught about the Jacobite Rising, but I don't remember. You know, I went to a nice private school with a big Union Jack in the courtyard, so I don't remember being taught about the Battle of Culloden or Bonnie Prince Charlie, but it may have just been that I wasn't paying attention. So I found it very interesting and started, investing in the kilts and the swords, the muskets. But I remember being asked by the production to come back into the studio at the end of season 2 and demonstrate for German and Canadian TV how to wear the plaid. And then I did a video in my garden how to wear the plaid, and it got over 5.3 million views in the first 30 days. So that was the first viral video, and I remember how exciting that was. I remember being up in Glencoe at one of the hotels, and the chef came out and he's like, "G'day mate," he was Australian by the way, this is my Australian accent. He's like, "G'day mate," he's like, "I saw your video." I was like, no way, and that evening I remember looking at it, sitting in the hotel, like 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million, so it climbed and climbed. So that was exciting to see, and something that I never thought I would be able to do again, create another viral video.
So was that, I forget, was the viral video, was that just before you started going out in outfit, or was that about the same time?
I think it was roughly the same time. I can't remember exactly the order, but you and I had set up PACA with the guys.
Yeah, so you had got the, you started buying the kit, you then came to us and said, do you want a plaid? And we were like, we don't know what we're going to do with it, but yeah, let's get a plaid. And then you start going up the hills,
Yeah, that's
dressed in
right.
outfit, and you come back and tell us, it's amazing the reaction you're getting from people. You're at Three Sisters View, I think, and
Yeah, Three
you're
Sisters,
getting off, and
Ben Lomond.
people getting off the buses.
Yeah, the cobbler.
Coming up, you remember the story about the overhearing the guide, or a tourist was asking the guide, "Do you think it's okay if we go up and take a picture with him?" And the guide said, "No, of course you can't." And then you overhear me like, "Yeah, of course you can.
Over you
Come and
come.
take a picture."
Yeah, I mean, I think people love a guy in a kilt, don't they? And I don't think it matters what you look like, whether you're tall, slim, or, you know, a big guy. Everybody looks good in a kilt. So yeah, you're right, Grant. I started filming my trips up Munro's, I went up Ben Lomond or the Cobbler, and I would document at each stage, like on the banks of Loch Lomond. So everybody, I'm wearing my basket hilt broadsword here over my shoulder. I've got my 18th century style dirk and targe, and I was demonstrating what it must have been like for the Jacobites to march, perhaps. I mean, they marched long distances. They went to as far as Derby in the December of 1745 just to turn back to Scotland. So again, I don't think you knew much about this either, but we've both learnt a lot since, you know, from Bonnie Prince Charlie leaving France on board the Dutailly, accompanied by another French ship, the Elizabeth, evading the guns of the 60-gun man of war ship, the Lion, and landing up on Eriskay on the 23rd of July, and there to Glenfinnan, where they raised his father's standard on the 19th of August, then marching down the Royal Mile in Edinburgh on the 17th of September, and then Prestonpans, which you and I both filmed at. So it's, you know, learning all these dates.
Yeah.
And I did hear a story that as he's marching down, the women comment, "Oh, he's a bonny lad," you know, Bonnie Prince Charlie. So anyway, that's a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Whether you're on a horse or not, some of them were. But to go as far as Derby, 120 miles north of London, just to turn back to Scotland.
Difficult, yeah.
To that fateful day on Drumossie Moor, 16th of April 1746. So I just thought that was really interesting. And for me to go up on the bottom on loch level, it was nice and calm.
Yeah.
Halfway up, it's starting to get pretty stormy. And do you remember the video at the top?
Yeah.
It was a total
30 miles an hour or something
yeah,
like
it was
that,
like a total whiteout at the top, total blizzard. I'm like, "Hi everyone, it's Andy here. I'm not going to hang about. It's freezing cold." And down I came. But that's how I guess the Andy the Highlander.
I see these videos. Started. They're great, amazing. Let's stick them up. Just because they're so informative and evocative and interesting, and you get a good reaction from that. And then from that inspires you to
set up the tour company.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, none of this was planned. This is all just really organic, and I believe it's the law of attraction. I believe strongly in the law of attraction. If you're interested in something, then you pick it up pretty easily, you know. So I remember Anna, my wife is from Croatia. She was on holiday with the kids, and I was here working. And I remember telling her that I was going to set up a tour company. And she's like, "Excuse me, what did you say?" So yeah, I'm going to set up a tour company. I didn't really put too much thought into it. I just did it. It just happened, you know. And I became one of the busiest tour guides in the country.
So we take it back there. So Anna, because just before you tell Anna about starting up the tour company, by this stage you've got a lot of kit, a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
So take me back to how that happened.
Yeah. So at that point, when I was getting like replica muskets and swords and stuff like that getting delivered, Anna's like, "What are you doing?" So I didn't know that it was going to become a business, or in fact my life at that point. But yeah, you and I, through PACA, the group that we formed, we would go out and meet fans of the show, didn't we?
Yeah.
In kit, full 18th century kit. And as you said there, it was very hard to get the Outlander tartan. We had to get it through America, through the Celtic Croft.
Yeah. Do you remember the first one? The first meet and greet we did was
with Penny?
Or the one at the what's the hotel next to Glasgow Central? Is it the
Novotel? Yeah, the one that's just down. I think that was with Penny Spikings, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we turn up. We've all got our kit. We're wondering, it's a bit. We walking around with swords through Glasgow. Jay doesn't have a scabbard, so his long sword.
He's walking about with a claymore.
Yeah, he's walking around with a claymore. Four of us. We park as close as we can, about 100 meters away. We start walking down the main pavement towards the Novotel. Police car drives past us, doesn't even blink an eye. Obviously, you know, four people dressed in plaids with swords. It's, you know, it's official. If it was one person, maybe it'd be something else. So
yeah, I think so. I mean, you and I have both done multiple photo shoots. I was on the front page of the Glasgow Herald as well. You and I were both protesters against the development at Culloden.
Yeah.
We were at Holyrood Parliament in Edinburgh. But you know, we like to keep ourselves right. So we went up to the armed police officers and asked, "Guys, do you have an issue with with the sword here at all.
Yeah.
And I think we actually had them tie wrapped shut as well,
did,
Grant.
yeah.
Just in case. But I think as long as you're not
They were
running
just
down.
like, no, no problem.
Yeah, no
You're
problem
fine.
at all. As long as you're not running down the main street like a lunatic. I mean, I carry the dirk. I've actually started using the rubber dirk just for safety, you know.
Yeah.
But I believe that I qualify on two counts. I'm wearing traditional Scottish dress, and I'm using it for work. So I do sword fighting, as you do more sword fighting than I do, to a better, higher standard,
No,
of course. I do it for fun, but you've actually trained with Paul McDonald and
Yes, yeah.
and who's the other guy?
And with Mike Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Paul, who runs McDonald Academy of Arms, and Mike, who runs the Cat's Glove School
Yeah.
of Traditional Defence.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you've learned as a result of filming on the show, and you now are trained in historical fencing. Started off with the sticks, and
Absolutely, yeah.
progressed to a sword.
So it's fencing as it was martially before it became a sport.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at Novotel. We start doing fan meet and greets. We start doing other meet and greets, and then you take the decision to start the tour company. And what's that like? What happens from that moment?
So I hit the ground running. I never planned all of this. I'm not a historian. I was always good with dates. But when I first started doing the tours, I guess it was purely Outlander themed tours, because obviously we had the behind the scenes knowledge of where they filmed, and we could tell people the stories. But of course, there were the haters as well. Who does he think he is? You can't just become a tour guide. But I think if you're passionate enough about something, then yes, you can. And I think I've proved the haters wrong.
Yes.
Not only have I become a tour guide, I've become one of the busiest tour guides in the country. And
It's recognisable as well.
very recognisable. It's hard work, Grant. It's come down to a lot of hard work. You know how many hours it takes.
I know when you're first starting out. I mean, you're away from home a lot, putting in a lot of time. Also, interacting with folk on social media, answering questions, negotiating all of that turbulent landscape as well.
Yeah, so it was a learning curve, a very steep learning curve, but it goes down to hard work. I stay about 2 hours away from Edinburgh, so I have to leave here at 6 o'clock in the morning to ensure that I get to Edinburgh in time for pickup for my tour in the morning. So an 8-hour tour is more like a 13-hour tour by the time you wash the car and drive in the rush hour traffic to and from work.
And you find that most of the tours are starting in Edinburgh a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people are flying into Edinburgh. Some from Glasgow, which is a lot closer. But yeah, most people are from Edinburgh, and some are just a single day tour, some are multi-day tours. So it's long days. It's long days.
So you start out doing your tours, hit the ground running. You get very busy. You get a lot of interest. Then you start to bring on maybe an apprentice. You call me up, and you're like, have you got a bit of time to come around, and I'll show you what's happening. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was looking for somebody that was ridiculously handsome, Grant, and then I found you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Grant, as the listeners can hear, you're very articulately spoken. You're educated, and you know Scotland. Mm-hmm. You didn't really have to learn about the locations. You and I both had a really good start, a good background. We used to spend a lot of family holidays instead of going abroad. My father would take us all over Scotland. Yeah. We've got a few holiday homes in the Highlands. Yeah. We'll be going up there next week for Christmas, or a couple of weeks' time for Christmas and New Year, up to the Cairngorms. So yeah, Scotland is. I absolutely love my country, and it was an absolute pleasure to have you on board helping out. And then you start your own tour company, McGregor Tours.
I started mine as well, and I mean, we're a very small operation compared to you, but I mean, it's just, I'm sure you'd agree, it's just a pleasure and a privilege to take folk around the country, show them all of these amazing places, and sometimes discover new ones as you explore with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you go from so hitting the ground running, you become the busiest tour guide, one of the busiest tour guides in the country, and the reason that is because you're so passionate and you're so engaging, and that's what all of your guests say. Everybody, every single person that goes out on these tours with you, have an amazing time. I've read, just the reviews from people. And it's just because every single person that you take or engage with, you treat them like a person,
Absolutely.
treat them like a friend.
Yeah, you put the same effort into every single tour. I don't get tired when I'm on tour. I'm on the whole time. And I want to, as you do, we want to create an experience for our guests. It's not just taking people to a location, it's creating lifelong memories for your clients. And it's a real honour to take them round our wee country that we love so much.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of repeat clients, as you do.
So you're hitting the ground running,
Yes.
you're busy, there's lots of tours, and then
And
COVID.
then, boom,
Boom.
COVID. That's right, Grant. So I remember I had a group of ladies from Texas, and COVID hit. They had to travel back that day, and I think it was one of the last flights out before the airports shut down. So you're going from tours every single day. Like I know how many hours I worked. Let's say one of the busiest tour guides in the country, to ground to a halt. But with every cloud comes a silver lining. You get to spend more time at home with the family. I found myself painting the ping pong table, painting the gates.
I did not know that.
Yes, raking the grass, seeding the grass, feeding the grass, cutting the grass. And I did a lot of cooking outside. You know, cooking's my happy
You have got a great
place.
fire pit, yeah.
Yeah, so cooked with a fire pit, and then we did a lot of cooking. I did a lot of cooking with my poikie, with my South African Dutch oven cast iron cooking pot. So I kind of mastered that. It's about the passion, as the South Africans say. So you've got two fires, one with the flame and the other one with the embers. So you're cooking really slow and steady with the embers. So you're putting everything inside the pot on a very steady low heat, and then you put the lid on and put the embers on top of the lid and leave it alone, right? So you're cooking a slow cooked stew with oxtail or shin, you know, and breaking it down for minimum 4 hours. I may have had a few beers during that time as well. No, never. And then near the end of the cooking process, then you would put the potatoes and the carrots in maybe an hour before it's finished. So I had mastered this, and you know, you're out in the garden with the kids, you're lying on the trampoline with the big blankets over you, looking at the stars.
Bucolic. It sounds bucolic, and you're making me very hungry.
Yeah, we should have started the cooking pot.
So you're doing this great cooking, but you're also thinking about the tours as well.
Yeah, so obviously grounded. So as I say, it was lovely to spend more time with the family, but the world changed. Social media changed at that point. And I was just in the right place at the right time, as I was with joining the agency as well, you know. My brother Sean, who, in fact, let's go back a bit. I set up PowerPoint presentations and did online Zoom tours for people. Nobody could travel. So I already had the videos and the photos from all of the tours I had been on. And with the help of my son Daniel, who's now 25, he is really good with a computer. So he set up all the PowerPoint, added the photos and the videos and the slideshow. So I could just talk about all the locations that we visit on a regular basis anyway. I know them off like the back of my hand. So we did that during COVID. And then on a family holiday, my brother Sean, who had a small Pokemon page actually on Instagram, Sean said to me, look bro, if you're up for it, why don't I maybe try and work for you full time? We can give it a go, the whole social media thing. So I think at the time on Facebook, I had something like 50,000 followers, which seemed quite a lot. And then in the last 3 years or so, we've probably taken that to over 1.1 million, 3.5 million followers across the different social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok.
So I
Facebook.
remember as that was happening, so I remember talking with you about it, and you saying you were watching it going up, what, 40,000 a day?
It's crazy at one
50,000
point,
a
yeah.
day?
I had other content creators getting in touch, like some of the biggest ones in the country, contacting me, asking me what the heck's going on, and it was just all organic. You know, we didn't pay for any followers, nothing like that. It just grew really quickly. You know, the love,
I remember
people's love for
those
Scotland.
videos. Yeah, just a great use of. I mean, it's ubiquitous now, but you know, just great use of images and pictures and text and all that stuff that you were doing with Sean. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know my personality, Grant. I'm a real person. I think my videos, what you see is what you get. I'm not a historian. I have learnt a lot. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
an unofficial historian, but I do know a heck of a lot. But it's I don't take things too seriously. So my videos, when you click on it, you just never know what you're going to get. It could be something pretty serious, historical, or it could be me doing forward rolls down the street, you know, drinking whiskey.
And you do a forward roll very well.
Thank you very much. Maybe that's why my back's so wrecked. So yeah, I wanted to make them fun for people, and educational as well. And I guess maybe that comes to the next point, you know, after the tours maybe.
Yeah. So after you've done COVID stops, tours start up again. People are still engaging with you. You're super busy, and then there's the book. Tell us about that.
So when all the restrictions were lifted and people could travel again, we've actually found in the last few years since COVID, Scotland has only got busier and busier and busier. And even at this time of year, people are coming later. Linlithgow Palace, for example, recorded their highest number of visitors just last month in the winter season. So people are coming later. They realise, first of all, there's no midges and there's less queues. And look at the weather today, Grant.
That's stunning, yeah.
You know, yes, there's limited daylight, but you can still have a fantastic day tour. So the weather can be very decent as long as you wrap up nice and warm. But I remember getting an email from HarperCollins, from one of the biggest publishers in the world, asking if I would write a book, to which we jumped at the chance. So this is from the videos on social media, which have amassed hundreds of millions of views now. And we thought it'd be a great idea. I've got a copy of the book in my hand here, actually. It's called Lochs and Legends. So I wanted, initially we weren't sure of the structure. We didn't really know what HarperCollins wanted or how the book would look. So I must also say as well, it's written with my good friend and personal assistant, Lily Hurd, from Find Her in the Highlands. So a wee bit about Lily. You'll remember because you were part of the journey, Grant.
Yeah.
Lily reached out a number of years ago after seeing us on social media. She knew that we filmed on Outlander. And at the time, we had all the kit, 18th century kit. Yeah. So through PACA, we took Lily up to the Highlands of Scotland and stayed in the youth hostel at Fort William. Yeah. We then went to Glencoe and Loch Nanoom near Glenfinnan and did a photo shoot and then a calendar.
For the calendar, Lily was our photographer.
So Lily's also a fantastic photographer. So basically, Lily used to run my unofficial Andrew McAlindon Facebook page, which is now Andy the Highlander. So yeah, Lily and I have been through a lot together. Her ancestors were Mackenzies, weavers from Inverness, and she has a real love for Scotland. She put a lot of Scots to shame. She's been all over the country, and she knows Scotland inside out. But I think more importantly, she knows me inside out. It's like having two wives. So Lily would come here for 6 months at a time to Scotland and just travel all over the place and do blogs. So our spare room became known as Lily's bedroom. And every morning as I prepared for my tours, she would hear the hall floorboards creaking, which we've now had fixed, by the way. So yeah, it became known as Lily's bedroom. A really good friend of my wife and the kids as well. And when HarperCollins reached out, I said, we definitely want Lily to be part of this. You know, she's a huge part of the book. She knows me, she knows my personality. And between the two of us, we've travelled all over Scotland together as well. We've been to the Outer Hebrides, we've been up to Skye together, we've camped together, we've been all over the place. And she's now my full-time assistant, you know, and it's been a journey. This whole social media journey has been challenging. As you know, Grant, we've had some drama along the way. Yeah. And it's about, you know, I see you as a consigliere, Grant, as well. I always have done. Very level-headed, you know, you'll always give me good advice, you know.
Hopefully.
Yes, yeah, I've always seen you as a very good friend, somebody I can talk to. And Lily as well, about dealing with stuff, whether it's online or something to do with the tours or the social media. We've had a lot of drama, having to block scammers and stuff like that. So it's been an incredible journey. So the book is designed for people who may never come to Scotland. It could be an armchair guide. You could sit here and read the stories. It's about the history and the legends and the scenery. But it's also for people who do come to Scotland. It's designed in such a way that you could actually use this as a guide. You could start off in the Edinburgh area and you could do locations like Blackness Castle, Doon Castle, Coorus, Linlithgow Palace, places like that. And then you head up the A9 through Perthshire, up towards the Cairngorms, the Highlands of Scotland, Inverness. It talks about the Battle of Culloden, and then up out to the Outer Hebrides via Ullapool, so that takes you on the ferry ride. And there's some good information there as well about not planning to return home to America, for example,
Yes,
the very next day, you're at the mercy of the weather and the ferries as well. So always make sure you give yourself that window. But yeah, it takes us up to the Outer Hebrides and then to Lewis and Harris and then over to Skye. So it's a fantastic book.
Yeah, it is. I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, quite a few of the reviews that I've read is people doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
People who can't get over here, journeying through Scotland through your experiences there, through you and Lily recounting them, but also folks who are visiting here and using it as a basis for their own tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also, I also did the audio book, which was a lot of fun. I recorded that in the studio in Glasgow over 3 days. But Lily's plan was to marry a handsome Scottish man and live her life out in Scotland. It never went quite to plan. She's living off grid and she's married to her wonderful husband, Andrew Veets. He's also an author. So yeah, she's very happy out there and we hope to go out and see her there very soon.
So this is just one book, and Scotland's a huge vista, many stories out there, and this is a great taster. That begs the question, any other books potentially?
Yes, now that we know the structure of the first book, the second book should be a lot easier. You know, it's just going to be different locations and different stories.
But I know that this book is still doing very well as well. It's
Yes.
been out now for how long?
It came out 2 years ago in North America. It's only come out, I think it was earlier this year
Yeah.
in the UK. It's now a Sunday Times bestseller. HarperCollins have just ordered another 3,000 copies of it, and they've delayed the paperback because this one's doing so well. So Amazon have used it for October, and they're using it for a Christmas sale at the moment. And it's so lovely to see in most of the locations I visit now, most of the National Trust properties and Historic Scotland properties as well. So it's really nice to see that their support.
It's everywhere now, isn't it?
It's in Waterstones, it's in Barnes and Noble, it's in Target, it's in Walmart. So yeah, it's in, and of course independent booksellers as well. So it's nice for me on tour seeing that on the shelf and signing some copies.
Yeah, so this is doing so well. So maybe sometime before the second book comes along, but that's not a problem really, is it?
Well, maybe no. I'm in no hurry.
No
And Grant, maybe this whole thing that we're doing today could be mentioned in that as well. This is part of our journey, part of the history.
Yes, yeah. So on top of so at the same time as you start writing your book, and we've got we meet the guys and we do a couple of calendars for fun as a group. I start writing a story set in the 1740s, period drama, because, and I know we've talked about this before, we think Scotland is one of the biggest characters in the show. So and I know that in the story it moves away to the New World, and so I start thinking, I wonder if there's a story in some of the lesser known characters and what happens to them. So that's what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a bit longer, and that morphs, that changes. It's a screenplay, but I've got no pedigree, I've got no heritage. I then get approached by a very good friend of mine, Lorraine Cullen, and over the last 4 years we develop it, and it becomes a series of short screenplays. Then that becomes a radio play, and then the radio play sort of survives some of the stress tests of development, and that's where we come back together again, because you're involved as a producer, but also very importantly you're playing one of the main characters.
Yeah, it's all feeding into each.
Absolutely,
feed into each other, and it's supporting each other as well. Grant, as I said a minute ago, you have supported me through a lot of difficult times, and likewise, I believe in what you're doing. I think it's a fantastic project, and I'm very excited to be part of it.
There's a lot of time has gone into it, and we want to get it right, and it's just a great pleasure to be able to work again with you. So we've got the book, potentially the second book over the horizon sometime. What next?
I also now have my own Andy the Highlander Glencairn whiskey glasses, and I have some exciting things in the pipeline as well to do with whiskey and tartan. So
yes.
Watch this space.
I am the proud owner of a couple of the whiskey glasses, full disclosure.
Nice. It's the perfect glass to have a dram.
So you can't give any spoilers at the minute.
Not yet.
Stuff still
soon, hopefully.
Not quite hot to the press, but we'll hear about it later. Right. So I'm gonna ask you give us some tips, some of the benefit of all the hard work that you've put in and some lessons that you've learned along the way. If there was one thing or one or two things, what do you think has propelled you this far to where you are now?
Well, I saw how hard my dad worked. He was completely and utterly driven, and I have that work ethic as well. I give everything, everything into what I do with the tours. It's everything to me. So these 5-star reviews are really important to me, and that's not for an ego. I have a level of excellence that I want to maintain for my clients, to create these amazing memories for them. So, and it's an emotional job that I've got. Is it really a job to travel around your country and see these beautiful sights? You know, it's a real honour.
Yeah, yeah. It's a vocation.
It is.
Really for you, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like that, but also tied
right.
in. I'm the same, yeah. So if you're not gonna do it big, or go big or go home, do it to the best of your ability and beyond. And I see that with you when you do the tours, and really with whatever you do, whether it's the book or the tours or any of the other projects that potentially are going to be coming up.
Yeah, I think it's good to keep busy, keep yourself out of mischief.
So linking into that, any habits that help you? I mean, I know you're up. You get up really early.
Yeah, leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I mean, it's simple things. Get up out of bed. You know, I'm extremely punctual. I don't do late. I think that's very rude.
Are you instantly awake? Does it take you a little bit of time?
I get up straight away. You know, just as soon as the alarm goes off. I don't usually actually need the alarm. My brain, as you know, is so active, Grant. I'm all over the place.
Coffee first thing in the morning.
So my routine in the morning, I don't have breakfast, but I'll hydrate first, a glass of water, then a double espresso, and then drive up to Edinburgh and fuel the car up. And I will then clean it thoroughly inside, and then I'll wash it as well with the power wash at the gas station. And it's just hard work, dedication. But one thing I've learnt to do with the social media side of things, talking about all this drama, only worry about what you can control.
Very important.
Comparison is the thief of joy. I love that one.
Where did you hear that one?
I can't remember where
Because
I heard it.
I say that one as well.
It's a good one. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't worry about things that are out with your control. Only concentrate moving forward on what you're doing. I think it's so sad to see all these young kids, with the social media, who have these aspirations, these dreams to go on and do whatever that might be. And because of the haters, somebody that's shutting them down and, you can't do that, maybe they give up on that dream. And how sad is that? How tragic is that?
I've heard good advice for that, yeah. So maybe in the initial formation of whatever your dream is, yeah, you sort of nurture it, keep it close to yourself, or only share it with a few good friends. And then, when it's survived a bit of the stress test and you've developed a bit of confidence, then let it out there, let it free. But exactly as you're saying, I mean, the only thing you can control is how you react to events, and you're not going to, you're not going to be able to control other people's opinions, and you have to develop some tools. And I know that early on, I mean, I know generally that impacts you, but you've developed tools too. Yeah. And then this is part of that to be able to deal with it.
That's right, Grant. You know how personally I take things. And my wife will still say I take things far too personally. It's hard, but I could do a video that maybe got, 10 million views with thousands of lovely comments. And I would come back and see one nasty comment, and it used to ruin my day. But when you're involved in this social media, you have to learn to block that out. So I just simply block and delete and move on with my day. You cannot, otherwise you can't do it.
There's too much. There's too many good people, too many good things happening to focus on. Unfortunately, it's something that's trying to derail you.
That's right.
And that's what I see you doing every single day. You get up and
keep doing it.
You attack the day, and this is why you're here, and this is why we're talking. Because we both sort of in similar tracks, heading in the same direction with a similar sort of work ethos.
Yeah, it's so funny, Grant. I remember years ago when we were doing those videos, you're like, yeah, fella, you could be onto something here. We didn't know. We still don't know what our full potential is. We've been going in the right direction, but I think for both of us, there's so much more. As long as we keep believing in the process and just keep doing what we're doing.
I think what you do and what I do as well, I think we share this. Aside from a whole host of other things, is always saying yes and always pushing the door open, and just to see where it goes, to see what happens. Yeah, and but also being prepared, so that it's. I find, I don't know if you agree with this or not, that it's the things that you couldn't predict that happen that are sometimes the most interesting.
Absolutely. They say, especially in the film industry, if a door closes, then you can't get disheartened. You might go up for a role and you think, I am perfect for this. I was born for this role, and you don't get it. Nor do you get any feedback. The door closes on you, they're on to the next one. So you can't beat yourself up about that. You have to believe in yourself, and all this imposter syndrome. Am I rubbish? Am I not good enough? What's for you won't go by you. That's a very well-known saying we have here in Scotland. What's for you won't pass you by, basically. So just keep fighting, just keep banging on those doors, and a door will open.
Yeah.
And then another door will open, and then 10 more will close, but then another one will open. And with this, it's the emails that might come through, or the phone calls that come through. Are you up for doing this? Or, there's some very interesting opportunities that have opened up as a result of the hard work that I've put into this. The Highlander tours, and then the Andy the Highlander, now collaborations with different companies, but only something that will fit my brand. I'll never say yes to something that doesn't fit the Andy the Highlander brand. Yeah. I had a vape company reach out recently asking if I wanted to partnership with them. So, it's to do with Scotland, to do with maybe whiskey or candles, whatever it is. It's got to fit the brand.
I was about to say one last tip, but actually never give up.
Never give up.
Like, I would say, if you're not in it, you can't win it. And even aside from that, I mean, do what you love.
Yeah,
do what you're passionate about.
Right. Try and find what you love. I remember my dad used to say, chin up. Just keep moving forward. Maybe if something's bad, it's maybe not as bad as it seems at the time. Just keep going forward, and enjoy life as much as you can. Find something you love, and you'll never work another day in your life.
Well, I think that's a great moment to end the show on, and also to look forward to. I mean, very soon we'll have you back on, and you can tell us about these things you can't tell us about at the moment.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Thanks very much, Andy. It's been a pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you very much, Grant. My pleasure.
Awesome.